Okay, one more thing for you. This is just sort of fun, but it'll impress your professor, I think. So, you know, the perpetuity growth formula is value equals cash flow. Go ahead and spell this out first time. Cash flow divided by R minus G, where R is the discount rate and G is the growth rate in the cash flow. And this assumes this is a cash flow growing at a constant rate forever in perpetuity, which is unrealistic assumption, but it's a model that's used a lot. So we could maybe just simplify this a little to cash V value equals CF for cash flow R minus G. Now, you may have also heard folks talk about valuing a business or anything that produces cash flow as a multiple of that cash flow. And a common one is EBITDA. EBIT stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And that's really just a proxy for cash flow. It's not really true free cash flow because it doesn't take into account capital investments and working capital investments, or sometimes working capital can actually generate cash flow. But EBITDA is often used as a proxy for cash flow. And so a simple valuation model is value equals EBITDA times a multiple. So common multiples, range from 5 to 15 x times. So for instance, if you have a business, Carlin's yogurt shop, and it's generating $100,000 of cash EBITDA every year, and someone may look at it and long discussion of what multiple you would select, but that sort of what this gets to. Let's say someone says, I think it's worth 10 times cash flow. Well, then if you accept that your business is worth $1 million. So this is your EBITDA, which is proxy for cash flow. This is the multiple. And this is value. Now what is interesting, and maybe it's derived in a textbook, but I've never seen it, is that there is a relationship implied that's not obvious at first glance between these two formulas. But if we just do a little algebra on the perpetuity growth formula, let's just divide both sides by CF, by cash flow. So we end up with value divided by cash flow equals 1 over R minus G. Well, value divided by cash flow, an EBITDA multiple, is, if we rearrange this, say multiple, and we just divide both sides by EBITDA, we get value over EBITDA equals the multiple. And then if we just invert both sides, we get EBITDA over value equals 1 over the multiple. And Oh, no, I didn't need to do that, sorry. So forget that. So you see how these look alike? This side looks like this side. Value on the top, EBITDA on the bottom, cash flow here. EBITDA is a proxy for cash flow. So you can say this side of the equation's the same. So the multiple, since these are both the same, both these sides must be the same, the multiple must be equal to 1 over R minus G. So now you've got 3 unknowns here, but let's say you know, or someone's told you, I think your business is worth 10x multiple. And then over here, you still got 2 variables, but you know this has to be 0.1, R minus G has to be 0.1 to yield 10. So if someone were to tell you, oh, I think your business is worth a 10 multiple and I'm applying a 15% discount rate, then you know G must equal 0.05. So that's just sort of, I don't know, I think it's a fun little exercise to show that there is an implied relationship between a cash flow or EBITDA multiple and R minus G if you're using the perpetuity growth formula. Okay, that's all.